Hi guys, I'm Sharonda Isadora and welcome to Brazen Babe Reviews. And during this video, I will be recapping the TV show 911. I will be covering episodes 2 and 3. Because of course, I missed episode 2, so now I have to combine it with this new one. So, let's get to it, shall we? Thank you guys for joining me. As you can see, I'm in a different space. I'm actually in my bedroom. I was actually going to go out into the living room where I actually do the videos and stuff, but I just finished episode 3 and I just, all I had was the energy to actually pick the camera up and bring it in here. So I got too comfortable. It is getting kind of late, so I'm going to do this recap and then I'm taking my ass to bed. So yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to kill you. You better not move. Hold on, guys. Damn Bella, always acting a nut. Ugh. Anyway, plus she knows she's on punishment, so she better cut it out. So anyway, first I'll go into episode 2, which is, the name of the episode is 7.1. So after my recap of the first episode, remember I told you guys at the end of that one we were going to go into this where the city is actually experiencing an earthquake. I don't know why I got hurricane on my mind. Maybe because we're dealing with this rain right now up here, which is just crazy because this weather up north can't make up its mind what the hell it wants to do, and it's getting on my nerves. But so the name of the episode is 7.1 because the city actually experiences a 7.1 earthquake. Okay, so we cue to this hotel soon. Oh my God, I'm tired. We cue to this hotel scene, and there's a lot of things going on, which generally what goes on inside of the episodes of 911 when you go into them. There's a lot of things going on before the accidents or before the incidents start to happen. So what we have here is we're inside the hotel, so you know you have a lot of things going on. We have this family that is getting out of their van and they're actually going inside of the hotel. It's mom, dad, and 2 daughters. Then we pan to this lady with a little dog, and she's actually already at the hotel desk, and she's pretty much giving the desk clerk a hard time because, you know, they're telling her that there are no dogs allowed in the hotel, but she claims that the dog is her support dog, so she's giving them a hard time. Then we pan up to the escalator and we see this basketball team coming down, and it looks like they were at some like championship game or something like that. So then we have like the coach. He's kind of like, you know, side talks to one of the customers, one of the guys, and you know they're talking about the school offers that he has been. I guess he's like one of the top tier players on the team, and they're you know he's talking to him about the various schools that have been courting him. Then we pan to this lady. She's actually sitting, this young woman, she's sitting inside of the hotel room, the hotel lobby, I'm sorry. She's sitting inside the hotel lobby. And if I make some word mistakes up in here, guys, I'm so sorry. It's past my bedtime and I'm a little tired, but I want to get this done so I can at least edit it tomorrow so I can have it up on Friday. Because it ain't going to go up tomorrow, trust me. Or at least Thursday, so I can have my review up for American Horror Story, at least something. Anyway, So then we pan to this lady. She's sitting in the hotel lobby, and all of a sudden she gets this text. She was like dressed business like or whatever, and she gets this text, and I guess the guy was telling her to come up to the room. So then we pan back to the family. They were actually waiting for their hotel room to be cleaned, but while they were waiting for the room to be cleaned, they actually go inside the hotel's dining room, so or restaurant part, so they can eat. So we pan back to the lady. She's upstairs. She's in the hotel. She's going towards this room to meet this guy. So she goes inside of the room. She knocks on the hotel room door, and this pervert, because that's what he gave me. He gave me pervert vibes. He opens the door inside of his, and he's only in his robe. So she kind of like swallows the like, what the fuck are you doing, look down, and she goes inside of the room. So she's actually pitching, I guess she works for the company. This guy maybe was like the CEO or whatever, and she's pitching this idea with him. It looks like she had like drawings or whatever. So she was pitching these ideas to him. So she goes to sit on the couch, and she's talking to him, and I knew he was gonna make a move. Like I said, he gave me pervert vibes, and he actually did. He goes and while she's talking, he goes and put his hands on her knee, and try to be nasty or whatever. So she pushes his hand away. She gets immediately pissed off, and she gathers up her stuff, and she makes a lead to she makes her way towards the door. But while she's making her way towards the door, she's like cursing him out, like she's going to HR, she's telling the board of directors and blah blah blah. But he's the typical asshole, and he tells her that they'll never listen to her, basically they'll never believe her, and he'll ruin her career and all this other stuff. So she's standing there looking at him like, the fuck. So we pan back down to the hotel diner room, and one of the oldest daughters, she had to go to the bathroom. So she tells the parents, they're sitting at the table about to eat or whatever, and she has to go to the bathroom. So she tells the parents, that she has to go. And the mom was like, well, do you want me to come with you? And she's like, no, I could find her or whatever. So she walks off. And then we pan to the old lady with the dog. And the dog is, she's sitting at the table about to order her food, still being the old snuck up stormy heifer that she was. And the dog starts barking. So she's trying to quiet the dog down, and then we get the shaking of the hotel. It starts off slow, but then it starts going crazy, right? So the dog jumps, before the shaking really gets bad, the dog jumps off the lady's lap, or jumps out of the section that the old lady was sitting in, and he runs off. So the little girl, she gets distracted and chases after the dog, but the hotel really starts shaking, and a little girl grabs the dog, and she hides up under, like, I guess like this bar section. It looks like it was like the end of the bar section. It looks like it was something like that. So she hides up there while everything's shaking. The father jumps up from the table, and he's calling for the little girl, and he runs to make his way over there towards her. We pan back up to the hotel room, and the lady, like I said, she was looking at this food like, you're crazy. And the hotel started shaking, and when it started shaking, it just started going nuts. You see everything around the city, different sections around the city where cars are falling through the ground, all sorts of shit. So the hotel shakes so bad that a top of it actually leans over, starts to lean over or whatever. So you have the guy and the lady, the man and the lady, they start falling towards, because the hotel room had like these big floor length windows. It was a gorgeous sight. But well, not after the hotel, but I mean, not after the earthquake, but you know what I'm saying. So they start to fall towards the window. He actually falls on the window, and he's like there. And the lady actually, she starts falling towards the window too, but she's actually able to like grab onto something to prevent her from actually falling, because some of the windows just busted out. But he was actually, the guy was actually able to save himself. Like the window didn't crack when he was on it, but When he fell towards the window, uh, everything in the hotel, as the hotel started leaning over, everything in the room started falling. So, some things fell on him. I think it was like an entertainment center or something. This really heavy ass entertainment center that fell on him. So he's like stuck on the window with this heavy shit on him, and she's hanging onto the wall. So we got those tense moments. So then we go back 2 hours before the earthquake hits. And we have the new guy, or ex-military, which is what I call him. He's walking this kid into school. Looks like the kid is special needs. He has like the walkers. I don't want to call them walkers because I know I'm saying it wrong. But he has the things on his arms, to help him walk or whatever. I think maybe the kid has is it cerebral palsy? I believe that's what they call it. I'm just guessing. I'm not for sure. But he's dropping a little kid off the little boy off at school, and we kind of find out during the episode that it's his son. After the why do I keep saying hurricane? Oh my God! After the earthquake hits, we actually find out that ex-military has a 7-year-old son. Then we pan to Cap and Henrietta and Chen. And Buck comes in, and they're all at the fire station shooting the shit or whatever. And they asking Buck about Abby, and he's giving some old bullshit excuse. Y'all, Abby ain't coming back. And he started telling about his sister, how she started working at the 911 center, and Buck being Buck, like, I know she's taking over and all this other stuff. So Henrietta and Chen just look at each other and they're just like, whatever, and they walk off. Then we pan to the sister, to Maddie, at the actual 911 center, and she's in training. She's about to do on-the-job training, and she's walking with her little notebook, whatever. And we have like this asshole of a guy, or so we thought, about to train her or whatever. And he's just like, just being like, any questions that you have, don't ask me yet. You can ask me when you go on break. Break is only 10 minutes, so try not to still interrupt me. Just being an old butthead. So we go into that. And when they sit down and he's like explaining, he takes one call and he's like explaining to her, like, sometimes we get bullshit calls and all this other stuff. So, try to like, give those calls to who they need to be, but try to basically he was telling her, try to prioritize the calls or whatever. So she gets this one call, and the guy was saying he couldn't breathe or whatever. Maddie automatically goes into nurse mode. She had like this little notebook, and she's writing she had wrote all these things down or whatever. And she automatically goes into nurse mode because she's like asking the guy, like, where are you? He's like, in my car. And she's like, can you breathe? And dude, the guy that was training her was just sitting there looking at her like, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? So he puts the call on. He puts the call on hold. He takes the call. He basically tells the guy, like, we're going to send, first responders to you where you're at. So he's telling her, like, you can't do that because you're taking all these, you're taking all this information from this guy like you're at the hospital. And by the time we would have got a rescue worker to her or 911 attended to him, dude could have been dead. So he was basically telling her, like, you gotta come out of that nurse mode while you're doing this. And she's like, okay, I understand, I'm used to it, whatever. So they get past that. So then we pan to this cop chase. This teenager had done stole this Corvette or whatever. He's being an asshole driving around town. He had the cops chasing him. He manages to get away from the cops or whatever. And he had done caught the bus or whatever. He was like this, how those kids be all doing those super flips over gates and shit like that. So anyhow, like I said, he manages to get away from the police or whatever, and he takes the bus to his house, and he's walking down the street like, I got away with it again. And guess who's waiting for his ass at his house? Athena ass. So Athena already knows the kid, and she's just like, I don't want to hear no shit. Hold them hands out. You going to jail. So she puts the cuff on him and put him in the back of the car. So we have her driving him to the police station. He's basically talking shit like, I'm still a teenager. I can do this and get away with it. But Athena so kindly tells him, like, look, motherfucker, this is your third time that you're going to be in front of the judge for stealing cars or whatever. And there is that old thing of three strikes. That three strike thing. And you're not a little white privileged little kid. He looked like he was maybe Hispanic or something, or something like that. So, dude, you go in front of that judge this time, your ass is going to jail, and you're 18. So you might not even, your ass is going to jail. Basically, what she was telling him. So after she told him that, he sat back like, oh shit, like he says my mom is going to kill me. Boy, bye. So then, she's driving, and that's when we go to the earthquake happening again, and the highway starts shaking, and Athena's trying to like control the car, whatever. And remember from my first recap, I told you we had that scene with her on the highway. We just didn't know she had somebody in a cop car with her, whatever. But we have that scene with her on the highway, and we see the road in front of her, like the fucking highway just totally gave away in front of her, and we had cars collapse. So she's able to stop or whatever, and she gets out of the cop car, and we actually have it where she walks up, and some other people that some other passengers had had done got off, that had done stopped behind her or the overpass, got out, and they're looking down, and like I'm telling y'all, the highway was fucking going. It was going. It was a mess. So we pan back to the 911 center, and we have the earthquake happening inside the 911 center. Everybody's like, running and everything, and it was a mess. And Maddie's just like, oh my God, or whatever. And then we pan to the fire station, and the fire station was a mess too. But no one was hurt at the 911 center. And we had ex-military, I think he was like up under a fire truck doing something, and Henrietta actually had to pull him out before the damn fire truck or whatever it was had done fell on him. And then with the fire station, they have like the gas tanks and all the other stuff. So it was crazy, but no one got hurt. So we pan back to the 911 center, and the earthquake has stopped. I think it went on probably for like a good 10, probably longer than that, I won't even guess. So we have the earthquake stop. We pan back to the 911 center, and I guess the building at the center, the 911 center, is like a safe building or whatever. And that's when they start getting all the 911 calls. And the guy that was training Maddie is pretty much like, yeah, I wrote down what a way to learn a job on the job. Like that was like crazy job training right there. So all these new 911 workers, actually this was going to be their first time taking calls. So he pretty much tells them that because of this earthquake, they're going to again get some bullshit calls. You're going to be calling, you're going to have people calling in for bullshit, and you're going to have people calling in for really, really serious stuff. Again, try to prioritize the calls or whatever. And he puts them to work right there. So we pan back to and we have Cap and everybody from the firehouse. They're actually inside the fire trucks. They're responding to the hotel, but there was already another fire unit already there, so they were basically going there just to help. But we have ex-military. He's actually going through his phone, and Buck is looking at him like, are you looking for someone or whatever? He's like, he looks at Buck a little bit, but then he finally tells him like, my son. So everybody in the fire truck is like, wait a minute, you got a son? So he's like, yeah, I have a son. He's 7-year-old. He pretty much tells him that the mother isn't in the picture, and he's just worried. So Buck tries to like reassure him like he's fine. Like the schoolhouse is the safest place he can be. It's like reinforced buildings and stuff, and he's like, yeah. And as a parent, I can just tell you, yes, you can reassure me all you want to, but something like that happens and you're not near your kids, especially really, really small kids, you're gonna panic no matter what, especially when the other parental unit can't get to them. So it was really cute to to see Buckley, like, you know, really like try to calm down him, you know, trying to like calm him down and reassure him, you know, that his son is safe and stuff like that. And then we pan to Athena's husband. He's actually driving. He has the daughter in the car, and they're going to the son's school to actually go check on him. The son is fine. He's actually like inside of the playground or whatever. And they get there, they talk or whatever, and the son is asking about Athena. And it was so cute because the ex-husband was actually worried about her. And it was just really cute to see. He's trying to like reassure the kids that, you know, mom is on the job, she's doing her job, and she's fine. But in the back of his head, he's very worried as well, because they were trying to like call her, and Athena, of course, was, well, you know, service was out for cell phones and stuff like that, so they couldn't get in contact with her. So we pan to Athena. She's actually on the highway. She manages to, I guess, I don't know how it panned down to actually where she was down with on a part that collapsed. But anyway, she's, you know, out there telling people to get out their cars, move their cars, you know, to the side, so that emergency workers, you know, can get to the people that need the help. And she actually comes across the car. I think it was the car that actually like fell in front of her when the highway first, you know, did collapse. So the car's flipped over, and it's on fire a little bit. You can actually see like the little small fire. So she bends down, she sees the guy in there, and she's trying to like talk to him, you know, calm him down. He's panicking, he's upset. She's asking him if he can feel, you know, the usual stuff. Can you feel your legs? You okay? Blah blah blah. So she runs back to her police car, and I guess the kid was actually thought Athena was gonna let him go. But she didn't. He's talking shit, and she's just like, you know, pretty much shut up while I try to do my job or whatever. And she was talking to this construction worker because I guess he wanted to help or whatever. And she's telling him that the car is on fire, and she, you know, she has to get him out of that car, the guy out of the car. So she goes back, but when her and the construction worker are on their way back to the car, it actually like blows up, not blows up, but just, I guess, like blows up a little bit. So they, you know, everybody's like, oh my God. So she runs to the car. The guy's inside the car panicking. He is having a fit. He's like, I don't want to die, I don't want to burn or whatever. And she runs to get the fire extinguisher out of the police car. She comes back and she tries to put the fire out, but she's just like, it's not gonna work, because, you know, he's feeling the heat, and she's just like, it's just too much going on around them, you know, around the car to put this fire out or whatever. So she looks at, there's like this dump truck, cement truck near them, and she comes up with this idea to actually dump the wet cement on top of the car so that it can cool off the fire. So she goes back to the police car, and she tells the kid, do you know how to hot wire that dump truck? And he's like, yeah, I know, and all this other stuff. So she tells him, like, I'm gonna go let you hot wire that truck, but if your ass try to leave and not help this man in his car, if you see me again, basically she told him she's gonna fuck him up, and it's not gonna be good for him. So the kid, he does it. He hot wires the cement truck. He moves it over there, and they dump the cement on the car and under the crack that was up under the car, and the fire goes out. So as they're doing that, Athena sees a police helicopter flying above, and they hear the ambulance sirens in the back, so she knows that help is coming. So it was so funny. The kid actually thought Athena was going to let him go. She put his ass back in that goddamn police car, and he was like, you're not going to let me go? I helped somebody and everything. And she was like, your ass still going to jail. And she just basically gave him like some advice, like, just think about what you're doing, you know, before you do something bad again, think about how it felt to actually do something good. And she takes his ass to jail. So then we pan to we're back to the hotel. We pan back to the hotel, and we have like the fire chief from the other. I think she was the chief. Yeah, she's the actual chief of another unit. And Cap and his crew pull up, and she basically tells them about the hotel, and we pan up to the hotel, and I'm telling y'all, that shit was crazy. It was crazy. So they have like these beams trying to like hold up the hotel to keep it from falling further. And it was something, because of the structure of the hotel, it was something in the beams or whatever that were actually inside of the building that kept it from completely toppling over. So she tells him, whatever you can do, just help as you can. So she walks off, her and her crew walks off, whatever, and Cap pretty much tells his crew, like, listen, I can't make y'all go inside that hotel, and it's dangerous. Just look at this shit. It don't look good. I can't make y'all go in there, but if y'all want to go, you can. But pretty much everybody agrees to go in, even though ex-military is worried about his son or whatever. They all still go in, and Buckley is still trying to like reassure him, like, he's good, he's safe, he's in like the best schools. The buildings are reinforced, the window, everything is good. Don't I just thought that was really cool of Buckley to kind of like keep talking to him about the safety of the school, so he wouldn't worry too much while he was on the job. So we pan inside of the hotel, and they're actually in a dining area that they're walking in, and we see the older lady, child, she ain't make it, so they mark an X where she's at. And I wrote a lot of stuff down. I'm actually on point. So we have that. Then we pan to, they go a little bit further, and we actually have the high school kid. He is hurt really, really bad, and his coach is actually near him. We actually had like the beam of one of the beams in the building actually fall on, so the bottom of his leg is kind of like crushed up under this beam or whatever, or up under this beam. So the coach was with him, and we pan back out to the hotel, like the area of the hotel, and you had the parents of the little girl. Now remember, I told you the little girl had done fell through the floor. So the parents, they're crazy, they're going crazy, they're concerned, like who's going to save our daughter and all this other stuff. So Henrietta, before they went inside the hotel, Henrietta actually heard the parents, and she's worried as well. So we pan back to them. They get to we're back to the basketball player, and the coach was there with him. So Cat pretty much tells him, like, listen, we got to concentrate on get this kid up out of here. You got to leave. So he's like, I'm not leaving. He's like a son of me. So Cat was like, listen, we got to do what we got to do, and we don't need the distraction. Like, if something goes wrong, that we got to worry about you too. So he agrees to leave and stuff like that. So we pan to Buck and ex-military, and they're on the floor where they about to go help the pervert and the girl. And so we pan back to Cat, Chin, and Henrietta, and they're talking to the high school kid, and they're telling him about the options that they have to get him out of that building. First option was they call somebody in there, basically cut his leg off, and the other option was they can do like this this balloon type thing to lift the beam up from the top and pull him up out of there real quickly. And the kid is like, no, you're not cutting my leg off. Do the air beam thing, the air balloon thing. And Cap is pretty much telling him, like, trying to convince him, like, having a surgeon come in here and cut your leg off is better. And the kid was just like, he's telling him, like, you have family, a girlfriend and stuff like that. I'm quite sure they just want to see you home, even, you know, with half a leg, they just want to see you home and safe. And the kid's just like, no, I worked too hard to get to where I am. And even if I can't play basketball anymore, that's fine, but I don't think I can live with myself, you know, if he just gives up and have a surgeon come in there and cut his leg off, whatever. So they agree to do the balloon thing to lift the beam up to pull him up out of there quickly. It was crazy. I was just like, oh my God, I hope that shit works, because I was scared. So we pan back to Buckley and ex-military, and they get inside the room with the pervert and the girl, and they're telling them to, and he was such an asshole. He's just like, I know it's usually women and children first in this situation, but y'all gotta hurry up and get me out of here. I was like, let this motherfucker fall through the window. So ex-military, he goes towards the guy at the window, and Buckley is going to help the girl. So they get a rope around the girl or whatever, and he's in a you know, he's about, you know, he's pulling her up. So the building starts shaking a little bit. So ex-military is like, don't move, don't nobody move. You know, like that. So he's telling them, try not to move, because, you know, they were in the part of the hotel that actually tilted over. So when the hotel guy, he was actually looking down in the street or whatever, and that shit was still high up, child. So he was telling them, try not to move as, you know, as much or whatever. So we pan back to, and, you know, they're roping them and, you know, trying to get them safe and all this other stuff. So we pan back to Cap, Chen, and Henrietta, and they are talking to the high school player. They got the balloon set up, the lift, and, you know, he gets hyped. You know, the kid, he gets hyped, he gets excited. You know, let's do this, let's get it done. So they start the balloon lift, and pretty much it works. So after they're pulling him out and they're getting him to safety, we have a aftershock from the earthquake. And during the aftershock, Buck is able to get to the girl to save her from completely falling through the window. But the pervert, he didn't make it. He was trying to like move or whatever. Well, actually, no. What happened was the rope snapped. And before the rope snapped and she was about to fall through or whatever, pervert, he was being like moving and all this other stuff, and ex-military was telling him, you know, don't move, I'm coming for you. But it was too late. The pervert fell through the window. He didn't make it. But he was actually, and Buckley wasn't able to get to the girl in time, so she's sliding towards the open window and she actually falls out, but ex-military was actually able to save her and keep her from splatting on the ground. It was crazy. It was crazy. And this was after the aftershock. So as they're actually able to get her and pull her back through the window. We pan back to the scene where Cap and the guys are actually pushing the basketball player through the section that he was in or whatever. And when the aftershock hit, when we came back, Henrietta actually, she saw the little girl's shoes as she was climbing over one of the beams or whatever. And for whatever reason, whatever happened after that aftershock hit, Henrietta actually falls through the floor. It was crazy. I was like, oh my God, we better not lose. I was so scared. I thought we was gonna lose her. It was nuts. So we have that. What else do I have? Oh, and episode 2 actually ends from there. It ends there with Henrietta falling to the ground area, actually the garage, and we have ex-military actually holding on to the girl where she doesn't, fall completely out of the window. So that, y'all, was episode 2. It was crazy. So, episode 3. And episode 3 is Help Is Not Coming. All right. So it's nighttime, and crazy things are still going on in the city, and Maddie is still at the 911 center, and she's telling the guy that was training her that she feels like she should be doing more and stuff like that. And he's just like, and she's worried about Buckley as well. She was telling him that she had a brother that was out there, and he was like, listen, we all got somebody out there, we're all worried, we're all stressed or whatever, just try to help as you can. So she goes back to the phone, and she gets this call from this dude, and he was saying that he made it seem like, his wife was actually, he was saying that his wife was in labor, and that, he didn't whatever. So Maddie was telling, and he needed an ambulance. So Maddie was telling him that, we don't know if, when we can get an ambulance to you, because, resources were stretched all over the city because of the earthquake. So the guy is like having a fit or whatever. So Maddie again goes into nurse mode, and she calms him down, and she tells him that she was a nurse and she delivered babies, but the guy never told her that after the first aftershock hit, the wife fell, and she was basically unconscious, but I guess her body was still in labor or whatever, and they were in a room. So Maddie tells him to put her on her left side so that she her and the baby can breathe or whatever. And they're trying to find help. So her and the guy figure out, they're looking at the screen or whatever, and they see where this fire is going on. So they actually end up directing the guy to the firefighters, and the firefight, in an ambulance or whatever, where they actually get the woman to an ambulance, and able to get her to the hospital or whatever. So that was pretty cool, and she feels so much better about helping this man or whatever. But she's still worried about Buckley because she haven't heard from him. But remember, because of the earthquake, cell phones were service was spotty, so I don't think she was able to. And plus Buckley was on a job, so there. So then we pan to Henrietta, and like I said, she had done fell through the floor. She's actually in the garage of the garage section of the hotel, but of course some parts of the top floors had done fell through the garage. We pan back to Bucks and ex-military, and they're talking. Like I said, they had them pulled the lady in through the window, the girl in through the window, and they're actually walking down the stairs, or as much as they can through the section that they came to get to her. But they get to this section, and when the aftershock happened, the wall actually ended up shutting off the door that they got in through. So of course they weren't able to get through that way, and they have to make their way back upstairs from where they came from to find another way out, basically. And while they're doing that, they actually get a call on the is it walkie-talkie? Yeah, on the walkie-talkie, and they hear they're doing the head count. The captain, not the captain, but the chief was actually doing the head count. It was a pretty Latina woman. She was stern as fuck though. She wasn't playing with nobody. When that father was trying to get back in that hotel, she was like, nah, bro, you ain't getting in there. But anyway, she's doing the head count on the walkie-talkie, and they hear that everybody is accounted for pretty much except for Henrietta, and they get these worried looks across their faces or whatever, and the lady ends up asking them if it was somebody they know. They don't answer, and they make their way back upstairs. So we pan back to Henrietta, and she's calling for Kat and Chin on her walkie-talkie, but she's not getting through. I guess because of the static and her being in that basement level, basically, that it kind of cut off her service. or whatever. So she's trying to call him and she's getting no answer. So she makes her way around and she comes across this downed firefighter, and he's uh, really, really messed up or whatever. So he doesn't look good. He's telling her that his femur was broken. He was basically on his back and he was breathing real. He didn't look good at all, y'all. He didn't look good at all. And he was telling her that, I think he said, yeah, that his femur was broken or something. Is it femur? It's not femur, is it? It's something different from men. But anyway, that, down near that area was his pelvis. Down there. Oh my God. I gotta go to bed. So he was saying that, his pelvis area was broken, and, and she was like, she's just trying to encourage him, tell him that, it's gonna be all right, stay with me, trying to talk him through it or whatever. And he's just like, and he was pretty much telling her, like, excuse me, he was pretty much telling her that he knew he wasn't gonna make it. He was a EMT, I guess, as well, or whatever, or something like that. He knew that, like I said, he wasn't gonna make it. So we pan back to Athena's ex-husband. He's actually at their house with the kids, and he's trying to like distract them, keep them busy. The house was a goddamn mess. So he's trying to like keep them distracted, trying to keep their minds off of worrying about Athena and stuff like that. So he's walking around, he's trying to like clean up whatever. He doesn't check the house or whatever. He comes back in the living room, and the kids are sitting at the table and they're watching the news. So he's like, I thought I told you, he's like getting on them a little bit, like, I told you guys to like clean up whatever. So they're like, we can't, we're watching the news, They were worried about their mother basically. And he kind of like walks back towards the living room, and the son was like, you're not worried about mom or whatever? So the ex-husband, he got that look like, what did you say to me? I thought he was about to go off on the little boy. I was like, ooh. Because he had that look like, how parents be looking at their kids like, who the fuck you talking to? That's the look he had. But he didn't go off on him. But he just went back to him, which was so cute. He told him like, basically like, he's worried about Athena too. He didn't specifically put it in words that he was trying to keep them busy and keep himself busy, trying to keep their minds off Athena by doing certain things around the house or whatever. But he pretty much told, excuse me, he pretty much told the son that he was worried about Athena too. And, yeah, so we go to that, right? So, the kids, and he's basically trying to like tell them like, that Athena's out there doing her job, and not to worry too much. And it, she does this every day, and all this other stuff. So the daughter was like, but Dad, this isn't like every other day. This is different. We're worried about her or whatever. So he understands, and he tells them, okay, I get it, I got it. Get your jackets. Get the earthquake kids. I want to go to California, y'all, but after seeing that shit tonight, I don't know. It's still on my bucket list to visit, but actually going to live there, child. I mean, an earthquake can happen any goddamn way. Because I remember when I first started working over in the city, we had like this little mini one. The building, people was like, oh, the building should be. Some people so dramatic. I ain't feel shit. But that could have just been me. But I didn't feel nothing. So anyway, but child, I'll go visit and then I'll have to leave, because if something like that happened, child, I'll be a whole mess, because I am not good. I'll be a whole mess. So anyway, they leave the house, and I assumed, I thought he was taking the kids around, to drive around the city to look for Athena. Because the little boy was like, we're going to go look for mom. He doesn't answer. He pretty much tells them, just get your jackets, get the earthquake kits, and let's go. So they do all of that, and they leave out of the house. We pan to Athena, and we have like kind of like what looks like a riot scene. So we hear this gunshot. So you have Athena and these other cops. They pull up or whatever, and you have like all these people in front of this store. They're protesting, but the store owner is standing there with a shotgun. So we thought that maybe that people were out there were actually trying to like, loot the store or whatever. So child, we Athena walks in. Hold on, y'all. Oh, anyway, sorry about that. I told y'all it's time for me to go to bed, but I'm gonna see this shit through. I'm gonna see it through. So Athena and the other cops walk inside of the store. So the store owner, he puts the shotgun down. So Athena was like, "What's going on here?" So she automatically picks it up. So it ends up, it's not even a riot. Well, and it's not even looking like the people were trying to loot the store. This motherfucker was actually inside of the store overcharging people. And I mean like overcharging people. So Athena is like looking at him like, what's going on? So he basically tries to say like, they're trying to like come in here and like, loot the store and all this other stuff, just being an asshole. I thought I was in a nice neighborhood and all this other stuff. So Athena, she starts walking around and she notices that one of the cash registers in front of the store, it looks like people were actually checking out because there were still items on the belt at one of the registers. So Athena's talking to him and she's like, yeah, whatever. So she finally tells him, she's like, it's against you. She mentioned some goddamn code, child. I ain't write that shit down. So, she's like, it's against, basically telling him that, it's against the law to raise the prices on items when there's a case of an emergency. So he's like, there's no case of emergency or whatever, anything like that. And she was like, it is now, especially with this earthquake that went on. So she's standing by this shelf and she sees like the package of water. And she says, how much are you charging for this water? I think he said $14.99. So this lady from the outside comes in and she was like, no the fuck he wasn't or whatever. So the cop pushes her back out like, miss, you can't be out. So Athena walks up to the lady and she asks the lady, well, how much was he charging? This motherfucker was trying to charge these people $50 for, I think it was like a pack of 24, the 24 thing water or whatever. So that's when Athena was like telling him like it's against the law to do that in the case of an emergency or something like this. So Athena tells him, you got two choices. You can lower these goddamn prices. And she was basically telling him that you can't, it's against the law for people in the events of emergencies or situations like this, hurricanes and earthquakes and shit like that. You can't raise the prices on items no more than 10%. So of course he was price gouging. So she tells him, you have two choices. You can lower these motherfucking prices, or I'm gonna take all my co-workers and we gonna leave you here and we gonna take that shotgun and we gonna leave you here to the defenses on your own to these people out here. So he's looking around. He's like, all right, fine, whatever. And he's like, he's trying to like negotiate how much he's gonna talk about something. First he's gonna start talking about something. He's gonna lower it to 10%. So she was like, really? So she basically gets him to lower it down to 50% off of everything in the store. I was like, motherfuckers ain't shit. It's like a real bad emergency going on out here. You trying to fucking price gouge and get over on people. I'm so glad Athena checked his ass. Child, that probably wouldn't happen in real life because some of these cops out here ain't ish. Anyway, so we paying back to Maddie at the she's still trying to check in on Buck, and we have this cop that's actually at the 911 center, and she's actually asking him about Buck's fire unit, and he's pretty much telling her that we haven't heard from anybody, but he tries to reassure her that Buck is fine. So we paying back to Buck and ex-military, and they actually made their way back up to the area that they came, but they're like, it looks like they're in the hotel, like in one of the hotel hallways or whatever, but everything is like, because the part where they're in is kind of like tilted over, it looks like they're walking up or climbing up the hallway or whatever, how you want to put it. So they get to this elevator section or whatever, and they're like, they're clearing out stuff, and I think her name was Allie, and he called her Abby by mistake. So she's like, oh, you called me Abby or whatever. And he's, they're talking. He's like, it was by mistake and da-da-da. And you know, they having this little conversation. It was so funny because it was like this drink cart next to old girl while she was waiting for them to like clear the area or whatever. Child, she took her little nip off of it and started drinking. They was looking at her like, really, bitch? I would have been right with her. I probably would have stuck to in my damn pocket. She was like, it's after hours or whatever. So it was real funny, that little section. So they ex-military is like, you know, telling them to be quiet, and they hear this person yelling for help. They go inside of one of the rooms and they actually see this guy on the floor or whatever, and they have like this they're like trying to check his feet or whatever. Basically his damn leg ain't no good, and they're trying to get him you know, they try to figure out a way to get him out of the room or whatever. And Buck is pretty much telling them that excuse me. Anyway, so Buck ends up telling them that, you know, they can't get him out because the guy basically can't move or anything like that. They basically try to tell him that, you know, they gotta find another way to get him out of there. They didn't have like a stretcher or anything like that. So they pan the old girl, and she actually gives them a iron board. See, the damn iron board is coming good. So they get him on the iron board. They're able to strap him in with whatever they can find, and they so ex-military is like, okay, we got this, but how are we gonna get this guy down, you know, to where we need to get him to be safe? So they go to the elevator shaft, they pry that open, and child, they're going to climb their way down the elevator shaft. Child, my heart was beating every step of the way, or every climb of the way down. So we pan back to Henrietta, and unfortunately the guy that was down there with her, like he said, he didn't make it. So she's upset, and she feeling like she ain't gonna make it. So she does like this voicemail to her wife, and she does like this really heartfelt voicemail, and child, got me to goddamn crying. I was like, oh my God, Henrietta. I was like, y'all better not kill Henrietta off, or I'm not gonna watch this shit no more. That's what I was saying, but I was lying to myself. So it was really, really heartbreaking to hear her say that message, you know, do the message. It was just kind of crazy. So she's basically doing a goodbye voicemail to her wife. And we pan back to the ex-husband, and Athena's ex-husband. And when I thought he was actually going to take the kids to look for Athena, he actually takes them to a church that is still open and taking in people. So he actually takes them to the church. It's now a shelter where they can actually, like, you know, help people and to also keep their mind, you know, off their mom and stuff like that. So I thought that was really, really nice. And the son automatically, it was like this adult male, but you could tell he was special needs. And the little boy automatically texted him, and he was like, you know, talking to him, and he was like, the man was basically telling him, like, you know, my mom said if something happens, always go to the church, always find help at the church. So the little boy just takes him and like, you know, let's go wait by the door, you know, wait and see if we, you know, wait to see if we see your mom come in and all this other stuff. So we pan back to the ex-husband. He's actually talking to one of the ladies at the church, black lady, and you know, she's telling him that, you know, him and Athena did a really good job of raising the kids. They came out, you know, beautiful, perfect, or whatever. And he's telling her that, you know, he's worried about Athena, that they haven't heard from her all day. You know, he's just worried. He's just trying to keep the kids from worrying, but he's just really stressed out right now. And she basically tells him, you know what, let me pray for you, pray with you, and everything's going to be all right. So we pan back to the hotel, and we have Henrietta. She's trying to like dig her way, I guess trying to like find like areas in, you know, where she can get herself out. So she digs out this section, and we see the little dog that was with the little girl. And I was like, oh my God, she's going to find this little girl. I was like, oh my God, she's going to find this little girl. So the dog comes out, and Henrietta picks him up, and the dog is like barking. and he basically is about to lead Henrietta to this little girl. So we pan back to ex-military and Buck, and they're actually ex-military is pretty much half. They had them rope the guy in ex-military together, so he's making his way down the elevator shaft, and the girl, Buck has the rope around him, and the lady actually, climbs like in his arm, so he can make his way down the shaft too. So they're making their way down and making their way down. So we pan back to Henrietta, and Henrietta actually finds the little girl. It was so heartbreaking. She's about to cry, and it was like this cute little section where the little girl comes out or whatever, and Henrietta asks us, "Is she okay?" She's okay, and she's like, your shoe was untied. I guess try to keep the little girl, distracted. But the little girl held out of everybody. The little girl held up the best. She was just cool as a cucumber baby. She ties her shoe, she looks up, she smiles, and it was just like, child, that little girl was like, "Listen, just hurry up and get me out of here, lady." But she was just so calm and so cool. I thought it was just like, whatever. So, child, we have another aftershock. And the damn thing starts shaking. Now, remember, we pan back to Buck and ex-military. And there was an elevator on top of them when they were trying to pan down to the lower floors to get up out of there. So, child, they couldn't even make it because the damn elevator had them started loosening up and started falling towards them, and they had to hurry up and get out of there. So the door, one of the elevator doors, kind of like give in, and ex-military kind of like kicks it in, and him and the guy swing in, and he's yelling for Buck to hurry up down with the girl, but Buck makes it. So we pan back to Cap and Chin, and they're trying to figure out where Henrietta is below them. And they actually get like her body temperature, body temperature, and they figure out she's not under them anymore. She's actually moved or whatever. And they're like, why is she over there? They don't know she found the little girl, whatever. And they're about to go down to the lower level to help her, but they're told by the chief that everybody has to clear the building because after that second aftershock, excuse me, that they're deeming the building no longer safe, and basically who's ever in there that's able to get out, they need to get out now. They can't take any more risk on lives and stuff like that. So Cap and Chin, they're like, whatever. So Cap tells everybody, okay, everybody get out, everybody leave or whatever, and everybody's leaving. And Chin turns to Cap and like, listen, we can't leave Henrietta because she wouldn't leave us. She'd be the last one to stay there and make sure, us or anybody else to get out of here. And Cap pretty much tells him like, he said, I know, I can't make, the other guys stay here, but, me and you, we're going for Henrietta. So they make their way down to where Henrietta's at. And child, when they get down there, they're walking through, and they get to like this big old section. Child, it looks like cars had them fell through the goddamn the parking spot or whatever. So it's like cars piled on top of cars, along with like brick and cement from the building too. So they're looking and they're like, what are we gonna do, whatever. So they start taking keys and certain car alarms and stuff like that. They already pretty much have an idea where Henrietta is, and they figure out that she's behind one of these sections of the wall or whatever. So they start taking car keys, and they're going through, they're taking the alarms, and they're going through people's cars, basically just trying to find supplies or whatever, to go to the section of the wall where they think that, they try to pull the debris out to get to Henrietta. And, Henrietta, they still don't know she has the little girl or whatever. So they're going through, and they come across this big old pickup truck, and they figure out to take this chain Child, I was talking so goddamn much, I didn't even realize that that the damn camera stopped. Oh my god. So, anyway, um, so where I was so rudely cut off at, um, the guys find this big old white pickup truck, and they're able to like get this little makeshift janky kind of a chain together, and they're pulling this section. You know, Chin is driving, and Bobby, well, Cat is on the back, and they're pulling this car out from this section where they believe Henrietta is at, right? So they're pulling, and the chain actually breaks, right? So, but they're able to get it to where they pull the car out enough where they can actually get inside of the wall. So as they're about to walk in, here comes Bobby in ex-military, and I didn't think. Okay, so I told you guys about Bobby and ex-military, you know, getting caught in the elevator shaft, and it looks like the elevator was going to fall in. Well, they were able to make it out of the hotel with the injured employee and the lady. So they were actually able to get down to Cap and Chin to help get Henrietta out or whatever. So all four of them about to go in there to start moving extra, rubble or whatever to get to Henrietta, when the chief of the fire department comes, and Bobby is standing there like, uh-oh. So she's like, you know what, Yaz ain't in trouble yet. We'll discuss it. The chief of the fire department comes in with all these other firefighters or whatever. But she pretty much tells Kat, like, you know what, you're not in trouble. We'll talk about it when we get Henrietta out of here. So, everybody starts working. They're like moving rubble out of the way. They take this jackhammer and to keep the parts that had them piled on top from falling even more as they're moving rubble. And they're moving and they're moving and they're moving, and child, the building starts shaking again, and I was nervous, bitch. I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be another aftershock. But it wasn't that bad. It was just maybe like a little hiccup or cough, whatever. So they actually clear it, and everybody's silent, and they're calling for Henrietta. They don't hear anything. They're calling, and finally they hear the dog barking, and Henrietta comes out with the little girl on her back. So it was a wonderful moment, and they're like hugging her, and they're so happy to see her. Awful, Cat, Chin, Buckley, and the new guy, they like huddle around Henrietta, and they're like hugging her and all, with the little girl still on her back, they're like hugging her, all this other stuff. It was so cute. The scene was it made me a little teary-eyed, girl. That was 2 times I had done. Well, I was crying, like I had done got misty-eyed through both episodes. It was crazy. So we pan back to the 911 center, and we have the cop that's at the center come to Maddie, and he tells her that that everybody in Buck's unit is pretty much safe. So she goes back to her desk, and she pretty much gets a thank you call or whatever. The lady calls in, she's making like she see like gas or whatever, something in the sky. And Maddie pretty much tells her, like, because the lights off in the city, she was actually looking at the Milky Way because the skies were so clear and stuff like that, which was kind of crazy. So we're going through different, we're coming to the close of the end of the episode, and we're going through different sections. We see Athena making her way home, and she's hugging the kids, and she's reaching out for the ex-husband's hand and stuff like that. We pan back to the hotel scene, and we see the little girl, Henrietta, coming out of the hotel with the little girl. The little girl lets go of her hand and go run to her parents. We see the parents running towards her, and we see she sits down and she's taking a breath. They always have like such excellent movie at the end of each episode. It was really like really heart moving type of a music or whatever. It was really nice to hear. I forgot the name of the song he was playing, but whatever. So we, we have her sitting on the thing, and we have Chin checking her eyes, making sure she's okay. We have Buck sitting down with the lady that him and ex-military were going through the building with. He's just making sure reassuring her, making sure she's okay. We have then we pan to another scene where we have Buck dropping ex-military off at the school, and we see ex-military run, and he's hugging his son. Guys, I was crying through this whole damn episode. So it was so nice just to see him. He picks the little boy up and he swings him around and stuff like that. It was just too good to see. And then we pan back to Henrietta, and she's still sitting on the at the hotel or whatever. And we see the mother of the little girl. She looks at Henrietta and she thanks her. Then we have her looking over to the side, and they actually bring in, remember I told you guys she was down there with another rescue worker that died. They actually bring him out of the building, his unit or whatever, bring him out of the building. We pan back to her standing up, and she's doing the salute, the military salute or whatever. And when you have like your fallen comrades, brothers, sisters, stuff like that. So we have that. Then we pan to Henrietta. She makes it home. She's hugging her wife and her son, and she pulls the dog out of her bag, and the wife is just like, it was just really, really, it was just great. So we go back to Athena's house, and her and her husband's talking, and she gets a text from Bobby, a cab. And he's like, I really want to see you. I just want to make sure you're okay. And she gets a call. And she was like, he was like, can I see you tonight, whatever. And she's like, I would love to, but I just got to make sure the kids are okay and stuff like that. But he was like, well, can you come outside? So she goes outside, and Bobby is actually outside her door. And they're talking, and they're hugging and stuff like that. So while they were talking, ex-husband shows up outside. He was just like, what's going on here? So he walks up, and Bobby introduces himself, and he was like, yes, I remember you and stuff like that. I just wanted to check on Athena, make sure she's okay and stuff like that. So the ex-husband was just like pretty cool. He was like, come on inside, And he's like, no, I don't want to ruin, I don't want to like interrupt on you guys' dinner and stuff like that. I was just checking on Athena. He was just like, no. Ex-husband says to Bobby, like, no, I already made you a plate, and the kids are looking forward to meeting you. I thought that was so damn cool. I was just like, because I thought he was like feeling like when Athena went outside to talk to Bobby, I thought, because the ex-husband was giving her like, I'm gonna learn his name. I'll learn it and I'll put it down, the bottom of the screen like I always do. I thought he was feeling like a little bit, away or whatever. But when he came outside and he talked to Bobby, and he invited Bobby inside the house, I thought that was just so, I thought it's like just an adult way to do things. And I thought Athena was going to have like a problem with it, but she didn't. She's just like, it is what it is, and they go inside of the house. And that, guys, is the end of episode 3. And that is it for me. I'm about to go to bed. And until the next one, later days. Bye.